One thing, loved ones, there's no such thing as chance. There's no such thing as happenstance. There's no such thing as the bad luck of the draw. No such thing. Well, then, one says, if that's the case, then all this was planned. Why, of course. What goes on in life that's not planned and isn't in perfect order? See? What goes on in our individual's life, in your own life, that isn't perfect? And you say, yeah, but those thoughts and feelings, they just came out of nowhere and they're assailing me. Yeah, but you create all your thoughts and feelings and concepts. No one's lane forces you to adopt these viewpoints. The law of karma is so exact, it's right down to an erg of energy. An erg of energy is a measurement of energy. I don't know very much about all that stuff, but I do know that an erg of energy is an erg of energy. And whichever way you direct this erg, one erg going this way will produce an effect going this way. Everything is exact. It's just absolutely exact. Where you're born, who you're born to, the country you're born in, what you're told, the impressions you get. All of it. How you look, how you don't look, how you feel, your state of consciousness. There's no room for chance, happenstance, or bad luck of the draw. If there were, doesn't that mean then that the Lord God is not aware of everything that's going on in his universal body? Well, of course it does. If there's such a thing as chance or, geez, it just happened to me, I didn't deserve it, but it happened. Well, then the Lord does not have control of its universal body, and your own Atma in your own microcosm, is not aware of what is happening in your world. That means that cause and effect rules most of the time, but here and there it gets tweaked and there's a clog. And no. Just this right here tells you almost everything. And one says, well, Gary, that's just too much to accept. I can't believe that. Well, if you don't believe that, then you don't believe that the Creator has everything in control, and you don't believe that your own Atma has everything in control. And my point is, yes, it does. Everything's in control. And you've got to learn to look for the truth in your very own experience and what happens to you. If you're going to run from that, there's no chance to enlighten you. The Master works very hard to give you a perfectly created experience that will reveal a deeper insight into yourself and into truth. And you should just know that as the bottom line. Bottom line, we don't even go anywhere else. No, it's perfect. I hate it, I don't like it, doggone it, why'd that happen? But I know it's perfect, doggone it, okay, let's have a look at this. See, that should be your attitude because it is perfect, okay? I also want to bring out that many of the people that are experiencing tragedy and pain, and my heart goes out to them because they just don't know, but the Kal Niranjan or Brahm, and that's the ruler right here. Now, every region has a ruler, okay, fine. But to break this down into generalities and to be just very, very simplistic, and I've drawn this 1,000 times, but I'm going to do it again. The light and sound up here is a pure force, and it comes rolling on down here. And right at this juncture, now this is all a singular stream. There is inherent duality in this, but for the point I'm making, it's a single pure stream coming straight from the Godhead. Okay, when you get down to this mental plane, everything has to go into this law of duality, right? Man, woman, love, hate, good, bad, night, day. And so right here, this Lord right here is called Brahm, and we call it Kal Niranjan, which actually means time and space. This ruler was appointed to head up this region and to take this divine current coming down here as a singular power and to split it into two. This plane, this plane, this plane, and this plane. Now, everyone therefore, and this is what we call karma, the dual forces of life, this assumptive duality that everyone is in. And this is how the mind plays. It is not self-conscious. The mind is not conscious. So the way it gets its life is like a big pendulum from a clock that swings to and fro, sunrise, sunset, moonrise, moonset, love, hate, good, bad, man, woman. And all life is set up on this duality because the entities living here are not self-realized yet, they're not conscious yet, and they can't live by their own volition and their own point of view. It's much like a child. They're not an adult yet, so the parents cover all the little details and protects the child because they're not there yet. And in time, they'll be brought up to where they can be a thinking adult and make their own decisions, and the parents now can lovingly bow out. It's the same way with spirituality. Here comes the soul down into the lower worlds, and it's forced to come into this dual concept here, and it comes down, and since it's not realized, it's dependent, and it doesn't understand what the soul is. It's dependent on life and its mind. And so it gets caught up in this big wave, this big pendulum. Now, this is called the law of karma. And all life is under the law of karma, whether they know about it or not, believe in it or not, like it or not. So what? It's the way it is anyway. And it has to be this way. How many kids like their parents? How many kids like to be under this authority? Well, I didn't, and most sane kids don't. But it has to be there to keep the pressure on them and the discipline, or else, geez, who knows where they would end up. We've been through that, okay? This is what the soul gets into, you see? And so now the soul, the human entity, is under this sway of karma. They're not under the law of grace and the law of love. That happens when you get initiated by a Sat Guru. And that starts here. No, there is no love and there is no grace. There's the law of karma. And that's why we call this morality, because bad is bad and that's whatever, the devil or Satan. And good is, of course, that's all God. And this is how morality gets going. Yeah, all the goodness here is God and all the badness is the devil. And this is how the people have to live, with this law of karma and its the limited understandings that it gives the denizens of these regions, the dwellers. And what we're trying to do is bust this law of karma. We want to get through this law of karma. This is really gross. I mean, it's wonderful if you don't have a consciousness, but when you start unfolding your consciousness, this is total hell. One wants to master this principle of cause and effect, and they want to transcend karma and cause and effect and get up here into the law of love and grace and this singular power, where now everything is a spiritual experience. There is no such thing as cause and effect or good and bad. It is all spiritual truth.